It's time once again for Lux's 11 Words of Wonder 8B, now recorded with OBS Studio. So, last time, I gave the remaining 14 contestants their 8th prompt, and they all responded to it, which was... Scientists in Japan have sprouted a Pokemon to life. However, it was the worst Pokemon they could have chosen. What Pokemon did the scientists create, and why is it so dangerous to humanity? Here are the current rankings. At the end of this round, only the top 13 will be left. On to the vote totals. A total of 12 voters cast 167 votes. A little less than last time, but still quite a good amount. Every response got either 11 or 12 votes, with the average being 11.93. Which means, yes, every response except one got 12 votes. So now, here we are. The results. But before that, though, we have to hand out our Robin Hood prizes. And well, everybody took from ChatGPT. 2 of the contestants gave those points to Newt, and 1 of them gave them to Cheddar. Let's add those points now. Alright, now we can finally get the results underway. First up is Monochrome. He said, they brought Trubbish to life. Now Garbage fights back. Smelly vengeance. Ooh. I don't really have much to say for this one, honestly. And you may see why in a bit. But either way, let's see how you did. Let's see if you can get first place 3 times in a row. 54.17%. Middle of the road. But since you're over 20,000 points ahead of last place, you're automatically guaranteed to be in the final 13. Nice job! Next to go is Jaden19248. He said, Hypno kidnaps children? Clearly, those scientists were under its hypnotic influence. Honestly, I like this one a lot. Mainly because there's a creepypasta about Hypno, and the Pokédex entries can kind of confirm what you just said there. Let's see how you did. (59.17%). You're slightly below your last round score, but you move into the lead round-wise, but not leaderboard-wise. At least you're safe into the final 13. Next to go is Brian128462. He said, giving everyone false hope, the road is all going ho! Oh. This one was definitely humorous, and I find it being one of my personal favorites of the round. Although some people may not get that Ho-Oh is a Pokemon. I say that because there's a missing hyphen in the word. However, I still think this is a really good response. Let's see how the voters fared with you. (57.50%). Sandwiched between Mono and Jade, both percentage-wise and standard deviation-wise. Nice job, you're safe into the final 13. Next up is Sadayu IG. And I want to apologize to him for calling them a she in the last results format. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Either way, he said, Dialga. Roar up time, scramble sentence orders, making important conversations incomprehensible. Another one of my personal favorites responses, and actually uses Dialga's signature move. This would definitely freak out a lot of people. And I just realized this just now. But all the lines in your response in this format makes your response look like an hourglass, which is most associated with time. Just a nice coincidence I'd like to point out. Let's see how it did. Whoa! Surprisingly well, 69.17%. That's just barely below Monochrome's winning score from last time. I think you're on good track to get yourself another prize, Sada. Next to go is Santi. He said, Vaporeon. I ain't explaining, but did you know that in terms... Okay, this one has a lot going on behind it. First of all, Santi is mentioning that one post, I forgot which social media site it was on, about Vaporeon being... I'm not gonna finish it. But you should know it. I can see this response being pretty controversial, since some people may get this and find it hilariously true, and others just might find it creepy. Let's see how you did. Whoops, technical hiccup there. Anyways, 45.45%. By far the lowest score of the round so far. And golly, look at that standard deviation. 36.27%. That's one of the highest of the season. And you are also the first one not guaranteed safety just yet. Next up on the block is Brick. See what I did there? Okay, my jokes probably are funny. Either way, he said, Entei. Triggering volcanic eruptions through normal actions, lava covers Earth exponentially. This is definitely one of my favorite responses as well. Because one Pokedex entry states that through just one bark Entei makes, a volcano erupts somewhere in the world. So, imagine having Entei as a pet. If someone knocks on the door, yeah, there's going to be like 10 volcanic eruptions happening all at once. So yeah, Entei's a pretty bad Pokemon to have in real life. Let's see how it did. A nice score of 62.50%. You're safe into the final 13. Congratulations, Brick. Next up to go is Nader4. He said, Budu. It can spray itchy pollen and prevent using healing items. Now, I'm not technically a competitive Pokemon player, so I don't know how Budu can prevent using healing items. I'm not sure if it's through an ability, a move, or something else. But either way, this could work. (51.67%). Quite low for what we've seen so far, but you are guaranteed safe in the final 13. Good job. Next up is Boot Card, our round 1 winner. He said, a Lonctionary would make confusing long words. Those caused information overloads. Oof, there's a lot going on in this response, and not in a good way. First off, a Lonctionary is technically not a Pokemon, although it would probably make for a cool fake. And second, you had quite a few grammatical errors in that second sentence. I'm unsure of how this response will do. But let's see what the voters said. Ooh, yikes. 28.33%. That just puts your score just slightly above your standard deviation. Not good for this late in the game. Santee, on the other hand, is finally declared safe. Next up to go is Cheddar. And you only need a 29.45% chance score to remain safe. So it's technically a cakewalk. Either way, he said, they brought Trubbish to life, and now Tokyo is buried in ash. I think now you can see why I didn't have anything to go off of for Monochrome's entry. Because this is the second response to mention Trubbish. If you don't know what Trubbish is, it is literally a walking sack of trash. Pretty abysmal, to say so myself. What the? Only 45.83%? Yikes, it looks like you got sandblasted, Cheddar. But on the bright side, you are guaranteed safe. Next up is ChatGPT. They said they chose Chubbis. It's multiplying. Landfill's now sentient and angry. Yet another response that mentioned Trubbish. Honestly, this one works the best of the three in my opinion. Although, I'd recommend changing the now to a become. Let's see how you did, GPT. The epitome of average across the board. 50 flat. Nothing much else to say, but you're safe. Next up is Joe Mama. She said, Pikachu, dangerously adorable, captivates everyone in sight. All productivity have ceased. This one's clever, but not in the way you may think. Pikachu is the most popular Pokemon by far. So saying that, most people would instantly recognize Pikachu as that yellow mouse that produces electricity, from the average voter's perspective. So the voters would definitely have the most time understanding Joe Mama's response. And it's honestly quite creative, too. Let's see how it did. Oh, 46.67% was a lot lower than what I expected. But at least you're still safe. Next up is Tenazed. He said, Snorlax. Following his example, the population enter hibernation. Nature reclaims Earth. This is definitely a very creative one. And in a good way, too. If people would be sleeping for that long periods of time, no doubt the Earth would reclaim all the buildings and all the stuff like that. Man, the troubles of not having a script. Either way, let's see how you did. 60.83%! Nice job! That puts you in third place and in contention to get yourself a prize. And wow, look at that! Up 4 ranks! Moving on, Newt is second to last up. She said, Mr. Mime. He's okay in 2D, but in real life, nightmares. Oof, you have another grammatical error here. There should be a comma after that 2D. This one's also the shortest, and also might reference the Detective Pikachu movie, which I find pretty nice. Let's see how you did, Newt. Right on tier with my mom. 46.67%. Unfortunately, that's not quite enough to declare you safety. And after many drops in ranks, Food Card is finally declared safe. So now it's down to Newt and Tenseyak, also known as Kyotan 9. He changed his name. In order to be declared safe, Tenseyak, you must have a score of at least 51.38% or higher. Let's see the response. They created Yveltal, who obliterates as many people in its path.